Okay, so the future, how exciting. What will your future look like? Have you thought about it recently? My future is going to be filled with papaya and coconuts, like what's up in here. You have a moral obligation to question and interrogate the futures that have been served to you, and to challenge yourself to think about alternatives. For example, imagine it's 2030. Drones are reforesting the Amazon back to its original state. Universal basic income has been set in place, and young girls previously deprived of an education are in school. 2050, neo-tribes are gathering across the world to have their united vote on a blockchain to agree on global resilience strategies. The world's climate is in recovery. Power and wealth has been meaningfully distributed, and the inequity gap is closing. Now, these futures are obviously speculative. The reality is, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but what we do know is we're likely to see more change in the next 15 years than the past 100. Think about that. No wonder we're anxious about the future. It's dark, but that's a good thing, because in the darkness lies possibilities, and you have a choice: to idly stand by and watch less ideal dystopic futures come into play, or you can act, and you can play in the darkness. Now, I'm a design futurist, but I don't believe in predicting futures. I believe in using experimentation to design alternative futures that might steer us away from blindly stumbling towards our ultimate demise. Raise your hand if you created imaginary worlds as a child. Bingo! We're all futurists. Who here believed that hoverboards would be an actual thing by now? So disappointing. I honestly believed that I would go to space camp in space by the time I left school. Sad, so sad. Didn't happen. One of my earliest memories is wandering into the shed, discovering balsa wood for the first time, rummaging through a blue toolbox, pulling out some random objects which I took over to my cubby house, the original makerspace, to build a contraption with the hope, with the intention that it would allow me to speak with aliens. I reflect on this memory a lot, and I think it's because there is a strong connection between this action and what I do today as a design futurist. Not necessarily speaking with aliens, but using design futuring and experimentation to help my clients, like government, think critically about the future, with the intention to create better alternatives than our present-day realities. So a few years back, when I was an aspiring tattoo artist living in Bogota, I was introduced to an urban experiment by Antanas Mokus, who during his time as mayor hired 420 mimes, like these guys, to re-educate road users about safety. By ridiculing jaywalkers, these mimes were able to affect behavior change. That's amazing, right? Recently, I used virtual reality to immerse citizens into a fictional future of reimagined transport systems. We used VR and AR prototypes and tabletop games as tools to test concepts around green corridors, safe cycleways, electric bikes, autonomous buses and drones. Citizens engaged in the experiment were able to tell us things we otherwise wouldn't know, like how to prioritize funding to these concepts based on their unique needs, and smaller details, like how they felt morally towards Uber, and how they simply didn't like the idea of carpooling with strangers. I was interested to understand what it would take to get someone out of their car, adopt public transport, and feel safe in a driverless bus, because this future isn't too far away. By 2040, autonomous vehicles could make up 75% of our road vehicles. And by 2050, it is likely that 70% of us humans will be living in cities. Radical urbanization threatens to increase the structural inequities of our cities if we don't redesign public infrastructure in the right way. This experiment raised the question about reversing urbanization to create more equitable cities. And if we're to create more equitable cities, we need to re-engage the social fabric of our cities on a cultural level. And we need to decentralize cultural and economic activity. Because if we don't, we might find ourselves in a future where the privileged travel freely in the sky in drones, while the rest of us, plebs, are on the ground, stuck in traffic. Where will you be? Up there or down here? Mobility is a right. And public transport must work for everyone. So today, the scale and purpose of my experimentation is somewhat different to that of when I was attempting to contact aliens. But the intention to test and experiment with futures before they arrive is essentially the same. We live in a time where, generally speaking, we're disillusioned with the state of the world, capitalism and our failing democracies. We're threatened by technological disruptions, and most importantly, each other. And for that reason, the need for childlike wonder, experimentation, and play to reimagine future worlds is more important than ever. The Fifth Element and The Matrix were my favorite films growing up. Big surprise. I believed that one day I would go to space and fall in love with a supreme being after being unplugged from a fake reality where humanity sleeps, oblivious to the fact that they're plugged into a system to power robots. This is the perfect example of a future that we want to avoid. Maybe not the supreme beings. I'm all for supreme beings. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the future so much. I actually have it tattooed on my arm in Futura. I've also made it my life's goal to facilitate experimentation of possible futures so that we might avoid dystopic futures. Imagine a future where humanity is no longer the dominant intelligence in the world, and your choices are dictated by a set of external algorithms. I recently created a game, the Humanity Tradeoff Challenge, for a Future of Work lab, designed to help workers interrogate the role AI would play in their future. The challenge for participants was to relinquish aspects of their humanity to AI in order to renew their own human intention. I put the question to them, what aspects of your humanity, like curiosity and logic, should be enhanced or replaced by AI? The first time they played, they were reluctant to relinquish much. But after interrogating AI, they felt confident in releasing aspects of their humanity if it gave way for them to explore new human qualities gained by doing so, like creativity, like curiosity. By 2030, a third of human jobs will be replaced by AI. And experiments like the Humanity Tradeoff Challenge allow us to interrogate new human logic based on our difference and intrinsic value as living, social, and connected beings. In a world where we exist side by side AI, we need to redefine what it means to be human. Because if we don't, we risk rendering ourselves obsolete or collectively plugging into power robots. Before we were able to read or write, we tinkered, and we learnt through play. And like play, experimentation is a universal language everyone understands. And in our increasingly more complex world, experimentation and play present themselves as the best tools to challenge emerging complex futures. Authoring the future can't be top-down or bottom-up alone. It must be a dance between the both, powered by people that transcend silos and foster a culture of social production. Urban activist Jane Jacobs once said, "It's wicked to be a victim, and nobody wants to be a victim of the future. So don't stand by and let the future be dictated to you. Rewrite future narratives, intervene, create, experiment, play, because the future doesn't have to be dystopic. Explore the darkness and take the plunge to steer Spaceship Earth away from its impending doom." Thank you.